What if the very things you cling to for comfort are the same chains holding you down? Think about it. Why does your chest feel heavy when they don't reply, when they don't notice you, when they don't offer the validation you crave? It's because your inner state is tethered to something fragile, something that can vanish at any moment. This isn't chance, it's a quiet, creeping addiction. An addiction so subtle it doesn't announce itself, but steals from you in tiny doses. With every unanswered message, every absent glance, every moment you wait for someone else to decide your worth, a piece of your power dissolves. Carl Jung saw through this trap. He knew no one can truly be free without mastering themselves. Freedom begins when you take back the steering wheel of your inner world, when you stop chaining your peace to what you cannot control. To feel good without needing anyone is not arrogance, it's liberation. It's standing in the middle of the storm and saying, "This cannot break me, this cannot define me." Because the truth is simple, if your peace relies on another, you've already surrendered the battle. The loss happens quietly. You get used to waiting for someone to choose you, to validate you, to make you feel enough. But while you wait, you forget how to live. You stop acting and start reacting, a puppet to the world's unpredictable hands. The shift comes when you stop chasing validation and start cutting the strings that make you dependent on it. That moment changes everything. It doesn't mean shutting out the world. It means loving without losing yourself, sharing without giving away the keys to your happiness. It means understanding that peace is yours to keep, not theirs to grant. Many think emotional independence is coldness. Jung didn't teach coldness, he taught stillness. The kind that refuses to be thrown by the waves of other people's moods, choices, and expectations. Wholeness isn't built by having everything. It's born from needing less. It's in saying, "I'm okay even if they don't respond. I stand even if no one stands with me." That's where transformation begins, not in pride, but in clarity. You realize your well-being is not up for negotiation. You didn't come into this life to earn love at the cost of yourself. You came to own yourself completely, never begging for space, love, or approval. Jung often reminded us that only two things belong to us, our actions and our reactions. Everything else lies outside our grasp. And when you try to hold what cannot be held, suffering follows. But when you release it, something shifts. Your energy gathers, your mind clears, your soul steadies. You no longer need more, you need less. Less attachment, less noise, less reaching outside for what already lives inside. At first, you will meet silence. A deep, uncomfortable silence, because the instant affirmations that once fed you are gone. But stay there. That silence is where peace is built. Not a loud, triumphant peace, but a quiet, unshakable one. The kind that whispers, "I am whole even in solitude. My worth is not measured by who sees me, but by how I stand when no one does." Yes, surround yourself with good people. Connect, share joy, but never as a crutch to escape yourself. The problem has never been being alone. The problem is being unable to stand it. Jung knew that the free soul suffers little over what it cannot control. And nothing is more beyond your control than the thoughts, feelings, and choices of others. Make them your center, and you will always be at their mercy. True emotional freedom begins when you stop saying, "They made me feel," and start saying, "I allowed myself to feel." Not to blame yourself, but to take back responsibility for your inner life. Because the moment you do, you become untouchable. It's realizing that what happens around you matters far less than what you choose to do with it inside. That choice is made in small, unseen moments, when someone doesn't respond the way you hoped, when your effort is overlooked, when someone turns away. In each of those moments, you decide, do I break or do I hold? Do I lash out or do I breathe and stay rooted? Because everything outside of you is unstable. Attention, love, recognition, they are here today, gone tomorrow. Today they cheer, tomorrow they forget. And if your peace depends on that, your life becomes a constant swing between high and low, never steady, never secure. But when you build your stability from within, it no longer matters what shifts outside. You carry a refuge inside you, a still, unshakable center that no one can touch. That is your real strength, the place where you can stand calmly even as the world shakes. This isn't coldness. It's maturity. It's the wisdom that comes from pain, from finally seeing there are things no longer worth your energy. It's loving with an open heart but not an unguarded one. Giving without draining yourself. Jung saw self-discipline not as restriction, but as liberation, because those who don't master themselves are mastered by everything else. Those who can't regulate themselves become prisoners to their impulses, and an impulsive life is never a free one. You weren't born to react to every noise, every shadow, every pull. You were born to choose, to create, to build yourself with intention. That means stepping back from what doesn't nourish you, breaking the habit of responding out of reflex, ending the search for approval from those who don't even know who they are. This is not isolation, it's clarity. It's knowing that not everything bright is connection. Not every glance is affection. Not every message is worth your energy. When you can filter what enters your inner world, solitude no longer feels like a cage. It becomes fertile ground. A space to find yourself again, to build, to observe. From there, you can connect without chains, love without dependence, give without depletion. That is the life Jung pointed toward, not one defined by others, but shaped by your own choices. And when you choose to depend less, you suffer less. When you suffer less, you live more. Pieces of yourself return. But not everyone will applaud this. Your emotional independence will unsettle some. Because when you stop depending, you stop being controllable. Your stability disrupts the story they expect you to play. They might want you to apologize for changing, to justify why you've begun protecting your peace. But you are not here to live inside someone else's script. You are here to write your own, to move without needing permission, to guard what is sacred to you. Those who truly value you will not demand an explanation for your silence. They will understand it. And if they don't, they have no place near you. Freedom means letting go of the illusion that you can control how others see you, think of you, or react to you. Releasing that burden is an act of love toward yourself. In doing so, you reclaim your center because you stop pouring energy into the impossible. You shift from chasing attention to cultivating your own strength. From seeking acceptance to fully accepting yourself. And that changes everything. You no longer arrive in relationships empty, searching for someone to fill you. You come already full. You don't engage in cycles of dependency, but in exchanges of truth. What is false cannot survive in the presence of your clarity. Not everyone will know how to stand beside someone who does not need saving, who expects nothing but chooses to give anyway, not from lack, but from abundance. That's rare. And it shakes people because most have only known love that hides a quiet need. But when you stand whole, you change the game. You stop seeking completion because you are already complete. From that fullness, you can build, share, and love without losing yourself. You finally understand that being at peace with yourself will always be enough. Because if you cannot bring joy to your own soul, no one else will ever be able to. And if you need someone to feel whole, you will never be free. Only when you can truly enjoy your own company do you become untouchable. The hardest part of no longer leaning on someone else isn't the quiet nights or the absence of company. It's leaving behind the version of you that once believed you couldn't breathe without them. The part that learned to survive on emotional crumbs, mistaking attention for love. The part that clung to something painful just to avoid having nothing at all. Letting that version go feels like tearing off a familiar skin, and what's left underneath is a raw kind of freedom, strange, frightening, but real. Suddenly, there's no one to wait for, no one to blame, no one to hold accountable for the way you feel. It's only you. And that truth is heavier than most people are willing to carry. This is where the real work begins, not in theories or words, but in the day-to-day act of living without attachment. Watching your own thoughts like a hawk. Catching your impulses before they run wild. Holding yourself steady while the world tempts you to fall back into old patterns. And when you manage it, everything starts to align. What's unnecessary fades away. What's genuine remains. Because you're no longer moving from hunger, you're moving from choice. You're not searching to plug the holes inside you anymore. You're living from a place that's already full. That doesn't mean it stops hurting to lose connections or close chapters. The pain is still there, but it doesn't swallow you whole. It sharpens you. You stop calling it rejection and start calling it redirection. Every time you choose your peace over someone's validation, you win. Every time you let silence replace a reactive answer, you grow. Every time you stay with yourself instead of running back out of habit, you heal. Life becomes a quiet, constant act of self-respect. You stop pleasing to be loved. You love yourself enough to never betray your own soul again. Jung understood detachment not as coldness, but as protection from what you can't control. And when you think about it, what do you ever gain from clinging to what's unstable? From worrying over what you can't change? All it does is drain you, break you into pieces, scatter you until there's nothing left to hold. That's the trap. A world that thrives on keeping people dependent and distracted. But you are no longer playing along. You're building differently now. You're becoming the kind of person whose stability doesn't crumble when a message is left unread, whose sense of self doesn't vanish in the face of criticism, whose calm doesn't dissolve just because someone leaves. That makes you rare. You no longer bargain your emotions away. You have boundaries. You have standards. You have an inner compass that doesn't twist with every gust of wind. People will say you've changed, and they'll be right. You've traded need for choice, emptiness for clarity, anxiety for calm. And you don't need to explain it, you simply live it. Feeling good without depending on anyone isn't withdrawal from the world. It's connection to yourself so deep that there's no space left for anything false. You choose relationships not out of fear or urgency, but from genuine resonance. First, it stings. In the end, it feels like home. That's when you can walk through life quietly, not because the world outside is steady, but because the world inside is. And that stability is worth more than anything you once chased. One day it will hit you, no one is coming to save you. And it won't be a tragedy. It will be a release. Because when you stop waiting for someone to fill you, you discover you've always had the tools to do it yourself. That truth hurts, but it's the kind of pain that sets you free. Your worth no longer hangs on someone's approval or affection. It stands on how well you can hold yourself up when all you hear is silence. And in that silence, something powerful happens. You finally hear yourself. You realize you were never truly weak, only out of alignment. You see that nothing was missing, you were just disconnected from your own center. Everything you searched for outside had been living in you all along. And that doesn't make you cold, nor does it mean you'll walk life alone. It makes you someone who chooses not from lack, but from abundance. Someone who knows that love given by choice, not by need, is the kind that can never be taken away. Someone who can stand in their own presence without feeling the ache of loneliness. Someone who doesn't run from themselves. Jung captured it in a single truth. Don't demand that life bend to your will, but learn to want it exactly as it unfolds, and you'll move through it with a steady heart. That is the kind of peace that rises when you finally understand that wholeness was never outside of you. It's been here all along. It's not about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about being discerning, protecting your energy like the treasure it is, guarding your attention because it's precious, keeping your peace because it's priceless. Sometimes the loss of a relationship, an opportunity, or someone's approval is nothing more than the price of freedom. And when you grasp that, you stop grieving what walked away and start cherishing what remains. Your center, your clarity, your calm. This doesn't make you above anyone, but it does make you untouchable in a way that unnerves those who seek control. A person who doesn't need won't crawl. A person who doesn't depend won't sell themselves. A person who is whole will never shatter just to fit in. Breaking emotional dependence isn't about fleeing from everyone. It's the quiet, daily choice to return to yourself, even when it would be easier to slip back into old habits. It's a revolution that makes no noise but changes everything. You stop reacting to every ripple. You stop chasing what won't flow. You stop accepting harm just to avoid solitude, because now your own company feels like home. And from that space, you begin to attract differently. People no longer come because you're available to be used. They come because your presence has weight, your essence has gravity. You become a choice, not a convenience. Those who have learned to be whole on their own carry a magnetic stillness. It's not in their words, but in the way they move, the way they respond, the way they stay rooted no matter the storm. That calm is the quiet proof of battles fought and won in places no one else can see. Jung never promised life without pain, only that you could find meaning even in its depths. That's what you're building now. A life shaped by your own choosing, lived fully from the inside out. So if you've ever believed you couldn't be okay without someone's presence or someone's approval, you now know the truth. You can hold yourself. You can stand unshaken. And that makes you unbreakable. Because the moment you finally meet yourself without turning away, you see it clearly. You were never truly alone. You were simply finding your way back home.